What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So we have to talk about this safety unit. It's a position for us that's arguably felt like one of the weakest, basically since Jamal Adams has left. And we did make one major offseason addition with Jordan Whitehead coming over for us, which should be a huge boost. But we definitely felt like we needed more. But there's been some recent moves that gives me the feeling like things are being ironed out behind the scenes, maybe a lot quicker than most of us expected, and probably will offer a better product than a lot of us expected. And there's no better time than now to go ahead and dive into it. So one of the smaller moves that has been made that could pay dividends in a number of different fashions is we've actually shortened our safety battle a bit for those players that are looking to basically secure that fourth safety spot for us. Now, Nacua, he made some headlines last offseason during training camp and mini camp practices. He found a way into the linebacker room recently. I think they announced it maybe Tuesday of last week that he would be making the transition, and what seems like is going to be an ongoing experiment for Robert Saleh and his defense. Now, for one, with this safeties transition, we're losing a member in this safety battle, which actually helps us out because we're getting a few more reps to some of these players. Think Ashtyn Davis, think Riley, think Will Parks, to see what they offer a little bit more. Obviously, we should, the takeaway here should be not necessarily that kind of cool was losing that battle, but that he might be able to find a way onto the roster in this linebacker unit, and he fits the mold of what they like. Obviously, the two biggest traits being that they're a little bit more undersized. With that comes that there's generally more speed, and when you think about safeties, there should be a level of coverage understanding that doesn't necessarily come with a linebacker typically. So 4.39 speed for kind of cool. He definitely satisfied the requirements of our linebackers having to handle sideline to sideline duties, and maybe he could find a way out there if he can beat out Jamien Sherwood, who I was expect to be essentially the fourth or fifth linebacker on our unit. But this isn't about that. So kind of cool makes this move as part of this ongoing safety to linebacker experiment. The second piece is Will Parks has been getting a lot of highlights recently. He's had back-to-back interceptions in multiple training camp practices so far. And he's a player that, along with kind of cool from last year, he was a player that you get the sense if he didn't end up catching the injury bug at an inopportune time, he probably could have made the bottom of that roster. And he's kind of showing face again here. And it's more important that we've seen flashes in mini camp, but training camp is when this all matters. So it's perfect timing for him with us coming up on joint practices. The fact that we are now pretty much finalizing what this safety battle will look like if we don't make any other additions. And if we want to base it off history, Will Parks might have the leg up over Ashtyn Davis, who's been a severe underperformer. He's kind of in the same Denzel Mims boat where he's just recently gotten healthy. He's really having his first true off season where he hasn't had any setbacks. And he flashed early during mini camps where he was quoted as being a rising star, and then he's disappeared off the face of the planet in terms of us hearing news about him's continued improvement. So I get the feeling that Will Parks is comfortably ahead of Ashtyn Davis at least, and the battle is really between him and Riley for basically that fourth spot. And if we want to go back and just kind of take a look at it, Jordan Whitehead clearly owns the starting strong safety spot. Obviously, we'll kind of mix and match and maneuver around, but behind him, it's a question mark. And then when we look at free safety, basically, we're looking at LaMarcus Joyner and Jason Pinnock. Now, the strong safety spot was not a position I originally was expecting the battle to be for. I was always expecting it was going to be free safety and maybe younger guys. LaMarcus Joyner is somebody we've talked about before. I told you guys the feeling in the coaching staff is that dating back to his Rams days, where he had some of his best statistical grading and outputs at free safety, they feel like he can recapture that form, especially with the talent that we've added in the cornerback room and then what's across from him with Whitehead. Jason Pinnock is basically becoming an understudy, but he'll also get a chance to still try to piece it together on the field so that we can move on from LaMarcus Joyner next year. So what's behind Whitehead? And I generally expected that it was going to be Elijah Riley for a while, but he is quite limited in kind of what he can do. He's definitely undersized for a safety. And then again, his range just isn't as great as Will Parks. Will Parks also offers the ability to hit harder than he does, which shouldn't be like a huge key component, but it definitely helps in terms of predicting maybe a few extra, turnovers or takeaways. So Will Parks, I'm thinking right now, is looking like he's going to secure the the strong safety backup spot. And I would expect that we're going to be looking at LaMarcus Joyner, Jason Pinnock, Jordan Whitehead, and Will Parks as our safety unit heading into this season. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Will Parks, he's had a fantastic training camp last year. He's looking like he's kind of turning that corner again this season. And basically, whoever ends up proving that they can be the most consistent over these next couple weeks is who I get the feeling is going to definitely end up securing that spot. So unless there's some extremely wowing performances in training camp out of any of these guys, Will Parks, I'm expecting is going to be who stands out. But again, let me know what you guys' thoughts are, and catch up with you guys again. Peace.